Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. Forgive me, as usual. I'm doing all these things at the same time. We are gonna have a great show for you today. How are my peeps doing? I trust my peeps are all doing well. In the chat, we've got he's away again, but ABQ is still kind of tepid in there, kind of tip his toe in there. Thank you for being here, my dear brother. You know I love you. You go have fun with your gaming. We have in the house Deb Denny. Hey, Deb, Indiana, how you doing? I haven't heard from you in a little while. Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia. How you doing? Beautiful. Great seeing you here. And Paul Fleming, Mr. Handsome, directly out of Powder Springs, Georgia. We have Cheryl Elkins out of Massachusetts. She'll be conducting this afternoon, tonight, Zoom Coffee with Egberto. Hey, 7 o'clock, between 7 and 9 o'clock Central, Coffee with Egberto. tinyurl.com/coffee with Egberto. We should have fun, guys. Welcome aboard. Gigire David says, I happened to find your radio station by accident down along Interstate 59. I've driven to buy it twice now while I've been out doing my people I've driven by it twice now while I'm being out doing my people deliveries. At least I know where the work is getting done now, although you're probably remote many times. Thankfully, due to the technology these days. Yes, but you know what? I am glad you found it, because you just knock on the door and go in there and say, hey, Egberto said to give me a cup of coffee. They'll give you a cup of coffee, and a lot of times people would bring some donuts in, etc. But yeah, we are a fun family out there. I haven't been inside of the studio in a couple of months or so, but we transmit and we do exchanges, all that good stuff. But we have fun and we work hard. Lee the Bearcat, Austin, Texas, welcome aboard. Carl Cox out of Riverdale, Georgia. Thank you for being here, folks. We also have para ver, Kay McDaniel and Pauline Barraza. How you doing? Stuart Cohen, Vegan Cindy. How you doing, Vegan Cindy? You're my girl. All right. Anyway, I have a soliloquy that I've got to give about where we are, and it's going to start with the jobs report, but I'm going to hold back for a while on that, because what I'm going to do, first of all, is play something that I played this morning on KPFT with regards to Iran. And then my soliloquy would include that as well. But I want to get this one, I think this is the right one, out of the way. I think it's important that we come to the realization that our president is insane. I don't mean that as a put down. I don't mean that as I mean, our president is sick. He's insane. And I think it is so important that we realize that. I don't remember if I don't think I played this yesterday, because I think I cleaned it up last night. But hey, guys, things kind of run into each other here. So sometimes let me make sure that I didn't play that one before, because I don't want to bore my 3 o'clock audience. I don't think I did. I don't think I did. I don't think I did. No creo que lo hice. No creo que lo hice, pero parece Whatever the case is, I think it's important that I play this one first. Even if I played it yesterday, I'm going to play this one here. And here we go, and then we'll take it on the other side. I am convinced the president is mentally impaired. But worse is that this mentally impaired president is allowed to spend whatever he wants on war and deny services as he sees fit. This is the not just an irresponsible president, because I think it is clear he has a mental problem, but those that surround him are using his incapacity to reap profits, to reap funds on our backs as we bankrupt the country. If you doubt the president's mental state, Jonathan Karl interviewed him yesterday, and I want you to just listen to this little piece here because this is definitely probative. It shows exactly what's wrong with the president.
President Trump telling me that he must be the one to approve the next leader of Iran. We don't want them to put anybody in there unless it is approved by us. The president told me he wants to ensure a future U.S. president doesn't face a hostile Iran. We don't want some president in 10 years to get stuck with this problem and not know what to do with it. In a lengthy phone conversation, Trump sounded triumphant, telling me, quote, "They are calling me the GOAT, greatest of all time." Referring to the war on Iran, Trump asked, "How do you like the performance? I mean, Venezuela is obvious. This might be even better." As for how long the war will last, the president said, "Well, there are many people who say it's already over. It's not over to me. It's over when I want it to be." President Trump is just 15 months into his second term, and he has launched military operations in 8 different countries.
Now tell me if if those are statements of a sane president. I don't think so. But the thing about it is, those that surround him, they know the truth. And they continue to allow this guy to go on to these tangents, an unprovoked war with Iran. Netanyahu is using him to get his whatever it is that he wants to get done, genocide in Gaza, taking out Iran, which it's not going to happen, folks. Iran is going to put an economic hurt on the entire world because with all their drones, they're going to start hitting oil refineries, oil tankers, the whole oil infrastructure. They have the ability to do so. They don't have to be able to beat America. They just have to be able to cause economic pain. And that's what they are embarked on doing right now. And as they do that, we are spending billions. We are spending billions of dollars on a daily basis. It is estimated that in the next few days, this would have cost us $30 to $50 billion. And of course, all of that could have paid for extending health care to all. All of that could have helped forgiving student loans. All of that could have helped with basic income for those that are hurting, given what our current economic system has done to its inhabitants, to the people of the United States. But instead, we have the president going off on shenanigans, spending our money, and causing us a future of pain. This is a sick president, costing us billions as he further bankrupts the country and weakens the dollar. All right, folks, don't forget, I have the link inside of both chats. Well, Cheryl has it inside of the Substack chat, and I copied it to the other chat here. Go ahead and sign up, and come break some coffee, have some coffee with us at 7 Central, 8 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. And it's at tinyurl.com/coffee with Egberto. tinyurl.com/coffee with Egberto. All right, Cheryl says this is not a war of days, weeks, or even months for Iran's regime. They think they are down the line. Let me tell you, whenever you have somebody that think it's existential for their existence, they throw out everything. They're not going to go down, and they have the means to do so. We couldn't. This isn't Gaza, a small area to bomb out of existence like Israel did. But we'll get there in a little bit. We'll get there in a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit deeper on that in a little bit. Welcome aboard, Ginger. Pachanga, ¿cómo estás, Pachanga? Welcome aboard, Amy Ebel. Welcome aboard as well. Welcome aboard as well. Leader Bearcat saying, Berto, billions were left in Afghanistan. Stop going back to stop being programmed by the right wing. There's nothing that was done in Afghanistan, left in Afghanistan, that the United States doesn't do all over the world. They leave material there because it costs more to bring it back and refurbish. My God, they make folks so dumb. When the United States left the 14 bases in Panama, you know the billions of dollars that were left there because it costs too much to bring it back and refurbish? Come on, people, grow up. Let's start thinking rationally. Leader Bearcat, I know you're conservative. I know you're MAGA, but you don't have to be and I say this with all the respect in my heart from someone who loves you. You don't have to be a dumb MAGA. You can actually use your head. Be MAGA, be whatever the hell you want to be. But please, critically think. Please critically think. That's all we're asking. Chuck Pinacchio, president of and founder of One Pair States, thank you for being here. Yes, functionality, we are living under a fascist dictator enabled by a foreign policy, congressional duopoly, and further serving a global billionaire, Epstein elite, all with money making war, climate accelerating energy policies, and profit first medical industries. Yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Look, I want to play something else for you. President Obama, President Clinton, President Biden, in a lot of ways, are late to the parade in illustrating the existential nature, the failure that the Trump administration means to America. And right now, we today at the Jesse Jackson remembrance or funeral, I don't know which one it is, President Obama did something that he needs to do a lot more of. And not only President Obama, but former President Biden, former President Clinton, and anyone of any stature, including the former vice president and presidential candidate Kamala Harris. It is important that folks who had purported or worked towards the leadership of this country show and start talking about the cataclysm that is coming because of what Donald Trump is doing. Let me be clear. It's not what Donald Trump is doing, okay? It is what Donald Trump is a madman. And I'm saying clinically a madman. But there are many people out there using his clinical madness, his clinical insanity to do what they're doing. And Obama, just a few minutes ago, said the following. Let me put this out here and then we'll take it on the other side.
In a time when it can be hard to hope, each day we wake up to some new assault on our democratic institutions. Another setback to the idea of the rule of law. An offense to common decency. Every day you wake up to things you just didn't think were possible. Each day we're told by those in high office to fear each other and to turn on each other, and that some Americans count more than others, and that some don't even count at all. Everywhere we see greed and bigotry being celebrated, and bullying and mockery masquerading as strength. We see science and expertise denigrated, while ignorance and dishonesty and cruelty and corruption are reaping untold rewards. Every single day we see that. And it's hard to hope in those moments. So it may be tempting to get discouraged, to give in to cynicism. It may be tempting for some to compromise with power and grab what you can, or even for good people to maybe just put your head down and wait for the storm to pass. But this man, Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson, inspires us to take a harder path.
Absolutely so. Inspires us to take a path. Those of us that are doing this work, and all of you who are here, who want to move the country forward, yes, you are part of those of us that are doing this work. Trying to wake up those who can be woken up, those who can be awoken. Trying to make folks woke to understand what's going on here before we go to hell. You know, those people that the MAGA folks that we see in our chat here that continue to make excuses. As we falter, they are going to be holding and begging us for support. But no matter. This is the economy today. We knew it was going to crater. We knew the information that we got for the last several months as well were going to crater. So over the last 10 months, the United States have created absolutely no jobs. None. No jobs. And of course, this last month was the worst in which jobs were lost. After having been handed a solid economy, after having been handed an economy where there should not be, it was on an ascent, and there is no technical reason. Listen to me, folks. There is no technical reason for the economy to have faltered. None. The requirements to keep the economy at the level it was at, even as though we would have wanted better improvements on the working class, was humming on all cylinders, and there were no factors there, no friction added to make a change there. But then came Donald Trump. Donald Trump, with his troglodytic form, his ability to believe he knows what he doesn't, from an economic, the ability to change economists that work for him who know the truth about economics, to simply acquiesce to his stupidity, to simply acquiesce to his imbecility. And this is what we get for that. And it will only get worse, as we will talk about later.
Stocks cratering this morning as President Trump says there will be no deal to end this war with Iran without unconditional surrender. That's sending oil prices soaring. Wall Street also rocked by the February's jobs report just in, which shows the U.S. lost 92,000 jobs last month, way off analysts' expectations. Unemployment also ticked up to 4.4%. Let's go right to CNBC senior economics reporter Steve Leisman. Steve, it was already a rough week on Wall Street. What exactly are we seeing from the markets this morning?
Well, the market's not liking, as you well described it, this sort of double punch here. One coming from the oil oil side, the idea that the president makes this very open-ended in terms of when this might end, and the idea for markets, all it does is increase uncertainty as to how long this price spike is going to last. Does it filter into inflation and other prices out there? Does it bring down consumer confidence and therefore retail spending perhaps with it? That's punch number one. Punch number two, obviously, these jobs numbers. And the context here, which is very important, is that we had this strong January report, and people thought, well, maybe we're out of the woods here on jobs, and then we get really the opposite, and people are thinking about it, well, the best way to do it is just to average the 2 months together, and you come up with zero. You come up with a very anemic job growth or payroll employment right now, and that is a matter of concern, because sometimes when you're just being very on the zero line, you can roll over, and all of a sudden you're losing jobs before you knew it. The unemployment rate did tick up. It's still relatively low at 4.4%, but if it starts to get above that, that's when you start to get areas of concern, 4.5, 4.6, and we'll see what happens next month. There were some issues. You had some really bad winter weather that might have kept jobs down. The other issues, you did have a strike, a nursing strike took 31,000 off of the payroll, so that'll come back in the next month. Got to wait to see what happens next month.
Again, 92,000 jobs lost in February. The expectations were there'd be somewhere in the realm of 50,000 jobs added. On top of that, Steve, there were also big downward revisions for January and December.
Yeah, we have had zero job growth over the past 6 months if you put those revisions together. And to my mind, when I look at some of these numbers, I perhaps see some impact of these tariffs out there. Manufacturing has now shed near 100,000 jobs over the past 12 months. That could be the tariffs. And why would you say if the purpose of the policy is to bring manufacturing home? Well, at least initially, our manufacturers import a lot of stuff, and then they then fabricate it into other things. Well, the cost of that stuff they're importing has gone up. And so at this point, we are losing employment there. Leisure and hospitality losing jobs is perhaps worrisome as well. We have heard talk of a decline in foreign visitors, again, related to the tariffs. So that could be out there as well. We also have this decline in immigration, so there are fewer people to hire. That is one aspect of it. But this economy has generated zero job growth over 6 months, and this is the worst month of that whole 6-month period.
Let's remember this. You notice two things he said. Oh, people are not coming over here. Go to the Canadian border. Nobody wants to come. And it's not only ICE. It's about disrespect. Why would we come to America? A country that disrespected us, told our prime minister, we'll be the 51st state. You'll be the governor of Canada. Why would you come? So this economic morass that we're in now it's not something that happened organically. It is policy that caused this decline. I want to remind folks on when Leisman just said, wait a minute, he put tariffs on to increase the manufacturing base in America. That was always a lie. You cannot increase the manufacturing base in a country on particular issues when the country is not equipped to do that. We gave away our textile production. We gave away all the production that makes textile screws and all these little things. You're not going to bring that back with tariffs. You have to bring that back with subsidies and retraining, and it took decades to get rid of it. It's going to take decades to bring it back. The purpose of the tariffs were gifts to the wealthy, because tariffs are nothing more than sales taxes paid for by the working class, the middle class, all those people that shop at Walmart, all those people that shop at Target, all those people that shop at Food City that are buying non-taxable items or taxable items. That's who pays the tariffs. And let's go back to some economics 101, right? If the measure of economic activity is how fast money circulates in an economy, if you give money to the least of us, if you give money to those who need it and will spend it immediately, that is like adding acetone to fire, adding gasoline to a fire because these people are going to spend it right away. If you give that money to the wealthy, if you have $1 billion, giving you $50 million makes no difference in your spending ability or what you would buy or I mean, how many cars do you have? So you don't spend so it doesn't increase the economy. I've always told you that being rich doesn't mean you're smart. Donald Trump is rich but not smart. In fact, he everything he has done, he has been losing money until he became president. But if you give money to the poor and the middle class, they spend it and you get economic activity. The term for that is known as the marginal propensity to consume. I have a larger likelihood to spend if I have no or little money. Now, what Donald Trump did is gave you little money on steroids because not only is he not giving, rather, not only is he giving your money to the wealthy, he's taking your money away. That tariff tax is money removed from you. And if that money is removed from you, that is money you are not throwing back into the economy that buys these things. Now, his deficit spending he hoped would be mitigated by your tax dollars, tariffs, paid into the United States Treasury. That is what it has always been about. And you know, I played you a part when he gave his speech, the State of the Union address. He said it. He made the mistake and admitted where he said he expects eventually that tariffs would remove the need for the income tax, which means the progressive income tax he thinks could be gone. It's an impossibility, folks. The amount of money you'd have to charge in tariffs to get rid of the income tax makes no sense. So, again, we have a very, very dumb president, an insane president. It's not only corrupt, the corruption is around him. All those people that are around him know that he is insane, but his insanity is profitable for them. And that is what you need to know, folks. His insanity is profitable for them. Welcome aboard, Joe from Los Angeles, California. Margaret Litan, welcome aboard. Angie Decadent says, have friends in Canada. They are standing on business on boycotting the U.S. They are not even shelving Kentucky bourbon in their liquor stores. I know that's what's happening. Elizabeth Raven from Caracas, Venezuela. Thank you. Gracias por estar aquí. And I need to get an update from you soon. And yes, I did resubscribe. I don't know why the subscription was lost. Do you lie? Welcome aboard, Dawn Morrow. Welcome aboard, Jim, as well. Jill Branton, Bobby K. How you doing, Bobby? Come troglodytic. LOL. I love it. They are troglodytes. Look, now for my narrative. Iran. First of all, I am very, very disappointed in a world filled with weaklings. America represents 4% of the population. 4 to 5% of the population is what we represent. 4 to 5%. Even if we wanted to be belligerent all around the world, we couldn't. We don't have enough resources, enough people, enough capabilities to do that. India has 3 times our population. China has just on maybe 3 times our population as well. India, the most populous country. China, the second most populous country. They have a lot of people. Indonesia, ton of people. Thailand. I mean, look, the rest of the world exists. The entire African continent. There are a lot more people than us. Now, one of the problems is when you are governed by a bunch of elitists throughout the world, falling under the ethos of capitalism and following this structure and not having built out or liberated yourself from the what's known as the transfer, the monetary transfer system the United States uses when BRICS is not built out and the others are not built out. Many of these countries, in order not to immediately feel the pain, they go ahead and acquiesce. Right now, you don't see Cuba mentioned, except that Donald Trump says the Cuban government is going to fall. The Cuban government is not going to fall. The country is going to fall. This Christian nation, this nation that believes in humanity, that believes in the sanctity of life, have allowed, and we're going to get to Iran, but I'm getting there. Right in our backyards, 90 miles off of Florida, we have economically blockaded a country where people are now starving, not because they can't grow their food, because they are in an area that grows 24/7 throughout the year. They can grow cassava, yuca, yampi, ñame, todo eso, banana, bacalao, tienen en el mar. That country can grow its food, but to move that food from la finca, the farms, into the cities, you need fuel. And Venezuela only produces a little bit of fuel, a little bit of petroleum. So they leveraged themselves, Cuba did, with Venezuela, where they would send a lot of. Cuba is a very educated country, more so than we are. On a per capita, engineers, doctors, and all of that, they had to be self-sufficient. Okay? Now, they would send their doctors and engineers off to Angola in Africa. They'll send them off to Venezuela, in effect, in exchange for other sources. If they couldn't use the SWIFT banking system from the United States of America, by God, we could exchange via labor. We could barter. And that is what Cuba had been doing for quite a while. And their existence have been good, you know? But the United States figured they would kill two birds with one stone. They would decapitate Venezuela, take Maduro, then make a deal with Delcy Rodriguez. Why? Well, and Delcy's smart. She made the deal till the better day. But in the process, any bit of oil that would have been going from Venezuela to Cuba was stopped. Every bit of oil that was going from Mexico, we are in the Gulf of Mexico surrounded by oil that Cuba needs. Right now, they're using as much solar and renewables as they can, but they're not built out completely yet. But Mexico, Venezuela, Colombia, Trinidad, all these countries that could send a bit of oil here and there and smuggle oil into Cuba haven't been doing it at the scale that needs to be done. I'm pretty sure they're getting some clandestine oil here and there from Trinidad and Colombia and all these places, but not enough. So there's no fuel for the garbage trucks to clean out Havana and the garbage in Havana. There's no fuel to bring a lot of the farming goods to the city. They're in bad shape. That government will not fall because the people are telling it to fall. They'll fall, if at all, because of our inhumanity. Because we're saying we are going to starve you to death. But here is the thing. Cubans have been so used to hardship that there is a possibility that they start to revert their economy, live with their austerity, turn their sugar cane into fuel, rearrange their society for further self-sufficiency, and outlast Donald Trump. After all, didn't Castro outlast Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Carter, who came out? Reagan, Bush, Obama, or rather Clinton, Bush, Obama, Biden, and the first Trump? Then did Castro outlast them all? Yes. And that is what self-sufficiency does. I have told you many a times that sometimes the hardships that are placed on prejudiced, inhumane, racist, misogynist folks make all the folks that were aggrieved much stronger, more resilient, because they had to. The same applies. The same applies to what we're going through in Iran. And while Hegseth can play video games, strength of video games, and think he's all powerful because he has those aircraft carriers with planes and he has the bomb and he has all these things, but he's spread thin. One of the armadas is in the Caribbean and two of them in the Middle East. But you know what? That's not enough because Iran is a big country. Iran has been forced to be self-sustaining for a long, long time. And they know pain. And elite Iranians in America, and by the way, when I say elite Iranians, I mean those Iranians who live good under Reza Pahlavi, the Shah of Iran. Those who lived well under the Shah of Iran. And remember, the Shah of Iran was nothing but a British and American stooge, right? Put there after the CIA and MI6 overthrew Mossadegh, who actually nationalized their oil so that it would benefit benefit Iranians. Iranians were poor as Britain and the US was extracting their oil. And they were poor, no different than what had happened in Venezuela, where in Venezuela, American companies extracted the oil, extracted the resources, and the wealthy in that country got a piece of the action, but the masses got next to nothing. Then came the Bolivarian Revolution with Hugo Chavez that switched that around, and for that they became personas non gratas. People. One of the things about America, and when I look at the MAGA folks in the chat, sometimes I feel sorry for them for the ignorance of not knowing history. Because the ignorance of not knowing history is one thing. But you know what is worse? The ignorance of allowing others to institute a false history in your head. And that is what MAGA represents. MAGA represents not an ignorance of history solely, but a false history that has been implanted in their heads that they are having problems merging it with reality, with what really had happened and what is real. And in the process, their puppeteers, the ones that are puppeteering them, are so discombobulated with knowing, wow, we have these, and I say this respectfully, but we have these fools in our hands. And we can do as we please. And we can invade Iran and hope. Remember, their puppeteers are not that smart. They didn't realize that, my God, if Iran is supplying Russia with good drones that have pretty much knocked out the electrical infrastructure in much of Ukraine. Remember, if Russia is using Iranian drones to knock out a lot of the resources in Ukraine, what makes you believe that if they're exporting this technology, that means they also have a lot of it themselves? What makes you believe they're not going to use that technology to cause you pain? And especially if they think that using them is existential, and going ahead and using these drones to knock out oil refineries, knock out oil production, knock out oil tankers. How well thought out, how smart are these people, folks? How smart are they? How smart are they that you are following? You have put yourself in their hands and they're destroying the country, as you've seen the constant crater, as you see that we are losing our communication systems, that Iran, we knocked out, we have air superiority over Iran now because we knocked out their radars. But guess what? They knocked out ours. You see? Now we have the President of the United States, Benjamin Netanyahu, saying the war will last as long as it needs to last. And notice what I said. It wasn't a mistake. I said the President of the United States, Benjamin Netanyahu. I wasn't kidding about that. I was not kidding about that. So, folks, we are in dire straits right now. We are in dire straits. And while a lot of us are saying, let's see what happens in November, we will take it back in November. Well, actually, that really means 2027, January 20th, right? That's when Congress is installed. Of course, there's going to be a lot of shenanigans being done before that. But we really can't wait. By election day, there will be too much damage. I am happy for what's going to happen on March 28th with Indivisibles, No Kings. Because we are dependent, and hear me out very well, folks. We are dependent on such a mass mobilization on March 28th that we scare the politicians that are currently scared of Trump. We scare them more. We must scare those politicians that are sucking on the you-know-what of Trump more so than they fear him. They must fear us more. So anybody out there with a mind, with a head, it's imperative that the 28th of March is a mobilization never ever seen in this country before. And the reason why is we have never been placed in this type of danger by an imbecile parading as a president before. I repeat, we have never ever been placed in danger by an imbecile masquerading as a president before. And look, if it weren't that we had those, and I keep wanting to call them, we've been calling them sycophants, but they're not sick. I am wrong. I am absolutely wrong. I am wrong. Those people beside him are not sycophants. I am wrong. They are using this insane imbecile. I am wrong. I've been calling them sycophants. The ones in my chat are sycophants. The ones around him are actually running the programs, are profiting from his imbecility. And that is what we got to understand. That is what we have to understand. And I want to use now the election of Talarico to make a point, an important point. And this goes to our black brothers and sisters, right? I saw an analysis and went through a few things. Like I said, it didn't, both of our candidates are good. A professor called me up today and he said, Egberto, I was sort of upset for you for saying you voted for Jasmine and not Crockett. And we went into the issues about taking money from PACs and all of that. And I think we got that resolved pretty well. But after you look at the numbers, you look at where Talarico won, and you see how Talarico maximized his vote. And then you look at Jasmine, the counties where Jasmine was more likely to maximize her votes. And what you find is that the people didn't show up for Jasmine Crockett. The people simply did not show up for Jasmine Crockett in Harris County, in Dallas County, in Tarrant County, in several other counties where she has the stronghold. And specifically, the percentage of black voters that would have normally, and let me back up because I don't like saying it this way. But I, in a racialized society, I'm going to say it anyway. Talarico maximized his votes in Travis County and got 75-25 in the way the vote count went. But right here in Harris County, there were millions of folks who would have been attuned to Jasmine that simply didn't vote. That simply did not vote. So there should be no complaints. Good for us. When I say us, I mean America or Texans in general. That either Democratic candidate were good candidates. But I don't want, in as much as Talarico's PAC, the people that under his control, did some very racist things, darkening her skin as if it should matter, putting out code words with dog whistles. In as much as the PAC supporting Talarico did that, please, Jasmine didn't lose the race because of race. Jasmine lost the race because people didn't show up. So I don't want to hear going forward. I want everybody to jump on the damn Talarico bandwagon. We got a lot of stuff to solve here. We got a lot of real issues that supersede sex, race, and everything. I don't want people to be tied up in their feelings about what they thought occurred. The numbers says otherwise. And I believe solely in numbers. The numbers says otherwise. If folks had there were more votes out there that would have brought it over for Jasmine if you really wanted Jasmine to win. If you really wanted Jasmine to win, the votes were there to do it. Now, going forward, we need to, and again, I am not discounting voter suppression. I am not discounting racism. I'm not discounting sexism. And I'm not discounting the trepidations that black women must go through to win a general election in this country. I am not discarding that, disregarding that. But I'm saying in this instance, the votes were there for Jasmine to win, and she did not lose because of racism. And it's funny because so I think it is imperative that going forward we all jump behind brother Talarico and ensure that this brother don't only win but win by a landslide, because that is what it's going to take here in Texas, because we still have the uninformed, the misinformed, etc., etc., etc. Very important that we say that. Now, going back onto the destruction of our country from Donald Trump, it is, folks, this is not a joke. We don't have time to listen to the crap coming from MAGA. There's a guy that I saw on TikTok today, and he kind of put me in my place, because I believe in speaking to everybody, talking to everybody, encouraging everybody to join the fold. I believe in unity. I believe that we should hug on everybody and try to convince folks about the waywardness of their ways. I don't know if I don't know if I actually saved this guy off, but I'm going to see as I speak. But the storyline goes similar to this. The storyline goes similar to this. If you there is these two people, and I'm going to get it. I'm going to bastardize the storyline, but I'm going to try anyhow. There are these two people that went to the king with a problem. This guy said the grass is green. The other guy said the grass is blue. And man, did I save it off or not? Did I save it off or not? Evidently, let me see. I don't think I saved it off, and it was a good corollary for me to show. But I'm going to tell you the gist of it, because this, like I said, that TikTok put me in place in adjusting how I'm going to deal with this election going forward, and who and what to convince, etc. And it went like this. Two people went. One person said the grass was green. The other guy said the grass is blue, but we all know the grass is green. So they go to the judge, and the judge says, after they both make their case, after they both made their case about the grass being green versus blue, the judge comes out, and the judge ruled in favor of the guy who said the grass was blue. That's what the judge said. And I want to find it, because I tell stories so badly. I'm terrible. I think if I do the right kind of search. I found it. I found it. I found it. I hope I can play it. I found it. Thank you. I found it. Okay. I found it. Here it is. I want you guys to listen. This is great. This is great. I so wanted to find this. Here we go. Here we go. Here's a story.
Argued with a tiger that the grass was blue.
Wait.
The tiger replied,
Let me start it over.
no.
Let me start it over.
A donkey once argued with a tiger that the grass was blue. The tiger replied, no, the grass is green.
Okay,
The argument quickly became heated, so the grass was. A donkey once argued with a tiger that the grass was blue. The tiger replied, no, the grass is green. The argument quickly became heated, so the two of them decided to take their dispute to the lion, the king of the jungle. As they approached the lion's throne, the donkey began shouting, Your Majesty, isn't it true that the grass is blue? The lion replied, Well, if you believe it's blue, then it's blue. The donkey continued, The tiger disagrees with me. He keeps insisting I'm wrong. Punish him, Your Majesty. The lion declared, The tiger will remain silent for 5 years. That is his punishment. The donkey walked away happily, jumping around and shouting with joy. The tiger accepted his punishment, but before leaving, he asked the lion, Your Majesty, if the grass is green, why am I being punished? The lion replied, This has nothing to do with whether the grass is green or blue. Your punishment is because it is beneath a creature with your courage and intelligence to waste time arguing with a donkey, trying to convince a donkey of something you already know is true. The greatest waste of time is arguing with fools and fanatics, people who don't care about truth or reality, only about winning the argument and defending their beliefs. Some people, even when you present them with all the evidence, simply cannot understand. Others are blinded by ego, hatred, and resentment. The only thing they care about is being right, even when they're not. When ignorance shouts, intelligence walks away. A donkey once argued.
And that's what I said now to myself. We have existential problems in this country right now. And I'll be honest with you. I think in me trying to speak to everybody, some of my friends have said, Egberto, you try too hard. And after listening to this brother here, I think, I'm not going to stop trying for those who are not the ones that he's mentioning that will always think the grass is blue, right? But I will not waste my time. And I kind of started edging towards that when I tell some people in this chat here, disregard them, disregard them because they're mentally ill. And as he said, they are just, you know what? Let's work. There are more people. There are more people that actually want to know the truth and can listen to the truth and can discern from it. And that is who we have to spend our time with and teaching them how to fish for those who need to be brought out of the funk. Remember now, you still have to get to those who are simply fogged. You still have to get to those who are completely fogged up, but you can. You can. But the one thing is not to, you know, there was one of our listeners here that don't come back much anymore because she got tired of some of the folks in MAGA land, and she just said, "I can't do it anymore." And that is where I have to be able to do it more, but at the same time, not to do it at the expense of moving forward. And that's the balance we must get to. All right, folks, remember in about how many hours? In about 3 hours, we will be on our Zoom presented by Cheryl Elkin. Cheryl, let me see if I can find the link so I can just copy paste. Can you throw it back into the chat so I can copy paste it in the other chat, Cheryl? Because I can't find it. Let me see. Maybe Oh, there we go. She did put it. Thank you, Cheryl. You're wonderful. I am going to put that. Please sign up. Let's have a chat at 7 o'clock tonight Central. It's 6. It's 6 o'clock Mountain. It's 5 o'clock Pacific. 8 o'clock Eastern. Thank you, sis. Let's do it. Let's do it. Come on to Zoom. And I'm going to be doing a lot of listening to whatever you guys want to tell me and whatever you want me to say, I will. It is Cheryl's show. And I want to thank her for doing that. I want to thank her for doing that, for bringing and bringing community together. I want to thank her for doing that. We are at the end of the show, folks. We're at the end of the show, and I want to thank all of you for showing up. I want to thank all of you for being here. We have a lot of work to do, and our country is in danger. It is in when when I when you understand the damage that Iran can do. We don't have the power. Iran is holding back right now. You may not think so. Our idiotic defense secretary thinks because a lot of those drones are being knocked down that somehow they're ahead. That they're not ahead. If they release several of these drones in once, and some of their military guys must be able to tell them that They will overwhelm the defense system. And if Iran wants to take out refineries, they can go all out. I know what they're doing right now. They're saying, let's see what happens. I don't want to take out the refineries in Saudi Arabia and all these places, because then the United States would take out refineries in Iran. Don't think they haven't taken out those refineries, not only refineries, but holding tanks, simply because the United States economy is dependent on the European economy, is dependent on the Chinese economy. But if Iran feels like they are going to be really wiped out and their government is over, they have the capability to send those drones out and destroy all of those assets, those oil assets. There are not enough missiles to take them out. America, you better contact your representative and let them know they cannot fund this war. They need to find a way to pull out, and they need to find a way to pull out now. Love you all. Anyway, folks, please support the program however you can. We are going to be doing a lot of work over the weekend as well. Writing, putting the message all the way out there. We need subscribers. I'll be honest with you. We need paid subscribers badly. Please consider, if you are on our Substack right now, it's inexpensive and you won't feel it. I want to ask you as kindly as I can, please become a paid subscriber. It is inexpensive, you won't feel it, and we are doing important work in educating folks. And it's not only here online, it's not only at KPFT on the radio station, it's not only in the blogs that we write here at Substack, but in the ones we write at egbertowillies.com, politicsdoneright.com, dailycoast.com, opednews.com. We ensure to put this message all over because we must educate. If you are on Substack and you have the wherewithal, please click that button and become a paid subscriber. If you know somebody, if you're already introduced somebody else to it and encourage them to do it, please. If you are not on Substack, you can go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter to support it. I'm going to put that in the chat as we speak. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. All right, folks, got to get out of here. Love you all. You can email me, info@politicsdoneright.com. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.